On paper, the Huawei GT5 Pro is a serious competitor to Garmin's premium GPS golf watches. And at £329 for this watch, it's significantly cheaper. So surely that means this Huawei is simply the best golf smartwatch that you can buy. Well, it's not really that simple. Just because the specs look good, what's it actually like to use? So I decided to buy one with my own money to share my unbiased, unsponsored review. If you find this video helpful, give the like button a quick tap. I'm going to quickly cover the essential information that you need to know about this watch, and then I'm going to share what I like and dislike about using the GT5 Pro as a golf watch, and then I'll follow up with what I think about the other smartwatch, fitness and health tracking features. So what's the essential information that you need to know about the GT5 Pro? It retails in the UK for £329, and right here I've got the 46mm version, which has a 1.43 inch AMOLED touchscreen display, and the case is made from a titanium alloy. There is a smaller 42mm version, but that has a completely different design. I say it has more of a feminine look, and it costs £70 more. There's also a metallic version of the 46mm version that costs a little bit more as well, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The AMOLED touchscreen is nice and bright, and it is very, very responsive. Really impressed with that. It's perhaps not quite as bright as a Garmin S70 or an Epix 2. You have two buttons on the watch too. So on the top, you've got a rotating crown, which you can use to navigate the menus, and then click to get to the menu setting as well. And then you also have a programmable button here, which I've got set up to actually take you straight to the list of activities that you can track using the watch. And this button also doubles up because it's got a sensor in it too for the ECG and some other health tracking features. The GT5 Pro has an impressive battery life, with Huawei claiming up to 14 days. When I charged the battery up to 100%, after a full 18 holes of golf, it dropped down to 89%. And from a full charge with the always on display mode turned off, then I found that the battery lasts around 11.5 days of use, and that was including 18 holes of golf in the GPS mode. And I was wearing that watch both morning and night. When I turned the always on display mode on, from a full charge, after about 6 days of constant use, the battery was down to about 16%. Overall, I am more than happy with that level of battery life. It's kind of equivalent to the Garmin's really, and just knocks spots off something like an Apple Watch. The charger is a magnetic puck. It's proprietary, so you can't just use a generic Qi charging station, but you know, it is what it is. This works fine, charges nice and quick. The unit is packed full of health sensors, including a heart rate monitor, ECG monitor, blood oxygen monitor, temperature monitor, never really seen that one before, and even something called an arterial stiffness monitor. That last one was something new to me. I've used it a few times, and according to the watch, my arteries are just the right amount of stiffness. The watch is pretty waterproof, so up to 50 meters with its IP69K rating. It uses a dual band GPS, so that makes it supposedly more accurate under tree cover and things like that. And in terms of connectivity, it has both Bluetooth, working with both Apple and Android devices, and it also has NFC. But no, it's not possible to set up contactless card payments with the watch here in the UK, so I haven't been able to try that for myself. Initially, I was disappointed that it didn't seem to have nearly as many sporting activities to track as a Garmin Epix or Fenix 8. However, it wasn't until I actually went into the custom button in the workout settings to find out that that wasn't actually to customize a workout, but was actually to customize the activities menu, which then showed that there were loads more courses, all sorts of sports that I'm never going to do. So generally, if you do want to use the watch to track sporting activities, you're going to be absolutely fine. In terms of golf features, it provides you with the majority of the information and features that you would expect to be included in a golf watch. Simple yardages to the front, middle and back of the green, a hole overview, which you can zoom in and out on to specific points to get the yardage to. You can also clearly see and scroll through the yardages to all the different hazards on the hole. There's a green locator if you're blocked out and you're not sure where to aim, and it also includes green heat maps showing you the undulations on the greens. It can integrate wind conditions too, and you can save the scorecard and some basic stats from your round to the app so you can view them later. If you like the sound of this watch, then I have included any affiliate links to buy it down in the description below. I do get a small commission from those affiliate links. It won't cost you any extra money, but if you don't feel like using them and you want to buy it from somewhere else, that is absolutely fine. But don't click those links just yet, because now I'm going to get into the really juicy stuff of what I like and what I don't. Let's start with my likes of the golf features of this watch. Firstly, for the quality of the screen, the titanium case, and the snappy processor inside this watch doing all the work in the background, this is seriously cheap and very, very good value for money. The battery life is also fantastic. You can use this for multiple rounds without charging, and you haven't got to worry. Using the watch itself on the course is a nice experience. Because the processor in here is so fast and snappy, there's no lag or delay. All the animations are nice and smooth, and you can get to the different screens nice and quickly. The strap itself feels nice and comfortable. There's plenty of notches on this strap. Given that this is a big watch, to be honest, this watch is too big for me and my tiny little wrists, there are still plenty of notches there to go. All the data is easy to read and understand, although there isn't a big numbers mode. That's a little bit of a disappointment, but the colors and the information is crisp enough for the majority of golfers. The fact that it has a full hole view for each hole is great. That's really handy if you've never played the course before and you want to know whether it's a dog leg or the kind of general layout of the land. The pinpointer mode is a brilliant feature to have on the watch. If you're a rubbish golfer like me and often find yourself blocked out for trees or a bush or something like that, and you're not really sure where the flag is, quickly swiping to that screen and seeing, okay, right, the flag is actually over there. I was aiming in the complete wrong direction. It's a really useful feature to have on a golf watch. The fact that this watch includes the green undulation maps as part of the package and there isn't an annual subscription to unlock it, well, that is good value as well. With the Garmin watches, you have to pay an annual or monthly subscription to get that feature. Of course, the majority of those features that I've just talked about aren't tournament legal, so in reality, unless you're using those features in just casual rounds, you probably shouldn't be using them anyway, right? You're all turning those features off, yeah? On the app afterwards, you can easily see the scores that you've got, although it's pretty basic in its functionality. And to be honest, using the app, more of its features are in the dislike pile than the like pile. And let's not forget, this watch, as I said at the start, is offering incredible value for money. So if you're the type of golfer that loves making the most of your money, then make sure you sign up to my free monthly Golf Deals newsletter. It takes 10 seconds and I send everyone on the list the best deals that I find each month. So you don't have to go around hunting for them yourself. I'll include the link down in the description. So let's move on to my golf dislikes with this watch, because there are a few that you should be aware of. Firstly, as I mentioned before, this watch is big. It's just too big for me. I've got a 6 and a bit inch wrist. It's very skinny, tiny and delicate. Yes, I know, but that's my body makeup. But this watch on my wrists is a bit too big, to the point where my wrists will actually move the crown button when I'm playing golf. Now, the watch does have a settings where you can actually lock both the screen and the crown so it doesn't move around on different screens while you're playing golf. That's great in terms of it not interacting with the watch unintentionally, but it's bad in terms of every time you then want to interact with the watch, you have to hold the crown button down for a few seconds to unlock it to then use the screen. A couple of other issues are that the watch is missing some fundamental golf information that I would expect to be included in the software. Firstly, there is no option to measure the distance of your last shot. In a lot of other golf watches, you simply press one button and the watch will start tracking, so then you can walk towards your ball, and then when you get to your ball, you look at your watch and it tells you that actually your massive drive was only 195 yards. That's a feature that I use quite often out on the course, and it's simply not in this watch. Another thing that isn't in this watch are any slope details. I'm a little bit surprised at that one, given that it has the green undulation mode. I touched on it before, but the wind direction feature didn't work that consistently for me out on the course. You need your watch to have a good connection to your phone via Bluetooth, and so sometimes that feature for me just wouldn't work. Another potential issue with this watch is that it does seem to have a much more limited number of courses compared to the likes of your Garmin S70s or pretty much any Garmin golf watch really. So with Garmin, generally they have around 40,000 courses. With the Huawei, it's 15,000. Now 15,000 is still a huge number, and looking locally to me, it seemed to have all the courses in my area. It wasn't missing any, but I do wonder what courses included in that 25,000 are missing. Perhaps they're courses in countries that I'm never going to play golf in, but I just don't know. One other pretty significant issue that I have with the golf features is that the courses are not pre-downloaded onto the watch. Now that kind of makes sense because this isn't a dedicated golf watch, this is a general smart health tracking watch. But if you buy a dedicated golf watch, then all of those courses are all on the watch straight away to use. With this watch, when you get to your golf course, you then have to download the course data from your phone, Bluetooth it onto the watch. Now, all that happens automatically and it works quick-ish. It might have taken about a minute the first time I had to download the map for my local course, but I was still waiting around. Once you've finished out on the course and you've uploaded your score onto the app experience is a little bit odd, I'd say. There's just some little weird quirks. Whether that's translation issues or whatnot, I'm not entirely sure. So for example, it's not hugely clear how to check whether or not a course has updates on the watch, but you kind of have to fiddle around with the app and you'll get there. And there's not a great deal of meaningful stats that you can really use in the app. You only really get stats for each individual round, not your golf performance as a whole. It doesn't give you any data on your hazard saves or your approach shot data or any club specific data. There's a little animation that shows you an overview of each hole that you played, but that's not always that accurate, and to be honest, is it really that useful? Not really. And for some reason, Huawei have decided that it would be a good idea to show you the total number of shots that you've ever hit. No idea why. Now let's dive into the smartwatch and health tracking features of the GT5 Pro. Starting with the likes, I'll say it again, it's cheap. The screen looks great, the battery life is great, it's nice and snappy to use. For a casual runner, rider, gym goer, it will track your GPS location, it can utilize maps, and from what I've experienced, it's been pretty simple to use. Now, I'm not a runner or a rider, at least an outdoor rider. My Peloton is looking very disapprovingly at me over there that I've not used it for, judging by the dust, at least 6 months. But from what I can see from fiddling about with the mapping features, it seems pretty intuitive and simple to use. And the same goes for health tracking features as well. The heart rate sensor seems pretty much in line with my Apple Watch, which is all I really need. And the sleep and stress tracking features are a little basic, but they're there. The speaker and the microphone work really well on this watch, in fact. I found myself answering quite a few calls to my wife while using the watch, and not once did she mention that the audio quality sounded bad. I also like the fact that you get more control over your app notifications when using an iPhone compared to when you use a Garmin watch with an iPhone. When using a Garmin as an iPhone user, I get pretty frustrated that I can't only receive notifications from WhatsApp, but no other apps. Instead, I have to receive notifications from all my apps, which is really annoying. With the GT5 Pro, although I don't have total control over my app notifications, I was able to allow individual notifications from WhatsApp and a few other apps as well. So let's move on to my dislikes with the smartwatch. A few times the watch has told me that I've got an unstable Bluetooth connection, which meant that I couldn't skip the music track that was playing on my phone. I've never had that before on any other Bluetooth device. Something else which was a little bit weird is that for some reason you have to connect to the app every 30 days in order to update the satellite signal. I've never had to do that on any of my other GPS watches before, or at least never had that notification. But for some reason, you've got to do it on this one. There's also some pretty weird quirks to using the Huawei app on the phone. Firstly, for some reason, I had to give each individual sensor permission to share whatever data it needed to share between the watch and the phone and Huawei. I've never had to grant so many permissions before, and it did kind of make me wonder what I was blindly pressing accept to. There are also some other features of the watch or the phone app that are locked to me because I'm in the UK. For example, it looks like you can't use the Strava app directly to track anything other than running, walking, or outdoor cycling. Now, this will be a big turn-off for many that use Strava to track other types of exercise, but probably won't be an issue for the majority. Another example is that you can't download music to the watch to listen with headphones. Spotify isn't available to use on this watch in the UK, and you can't even just simply download or transfer music directly to the watch using the watch's own media player. That functionality, for some reason, is locked because I'm here in the UK. For those looking for some inspiration in the gym or you don't really know where to start, there are some guided gym workout programs which use the watch to tell you the number of reps or what to do and give you demonstrations, and you use it in conjunction with your phone. I pointed up there because that's currently where my phone is, but all of that is locked behind a paywall. So here's my overall summary. For non-golfers, this watch is genuinely a serious competitor for a Garmin equivalent. If you want a well-spec'd smartwatch and a similarly spec'd Garmin is simply too much money, the Huawei is absolutely worth considering. I just wish I could say the same for golfers. Although the golf functionality is well spec'd in places, it is missing a couple of key features that come as standard on much cheaper, although less well spec'd, golf watches such as the Garmin S42. Huawei, if you're listening, you can add a few of the basic missing features from your golf app and you are on to an absolute winner with this watch. If you can afford a similarly spec'd Garmin and you're wondering whether the Huawei GT5 Pro is a like-for-like competitor, then the answer is simply no. In my opinion, a Garmin smartwatch is usually greater than the sum of its parts, so the combined experience of the watch and the Garmin app and the ecosystem they've built around it is simply a better user experience and is probably worth the money. I'd love to hear what you think of the watch, as well as whether or not you feel it's a genuine competitor to Garmin. So please leave comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Don't forget I have included any affiliate links down in the description below. And if you haven't watched it already, then why not check out my full review of the Garmin Approach S70 golf watch, which is a well-spec'd Garmin golf watch that, when it comes to the golf features, does kind of blow this one out of the water, but is a little bit more expensive too.